If you want to get the mics on, awesome, then you can start the meeting.
Everybody ready? Welcome to the Monday, April the 7th, 2025 meeting of the Montpelier Design Review Committee. We'll let members and staff introduce themselves.
Member Rebecca.
Meredith Crandall, staff.
Stephen Everett, member.
Martha Smirsky, member.
Eric Gelfand, member.
Liz Pritchett, member.
Good. At this point, we'll let Meredith review the remote meeting procedures and process.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Brian, this is mostly for you. You're the only person we have on remotely, but then this is also for anyone who's watching via ORCA Media. See. Oh, I can't see. Yeah, the recording happens automatically. All right, so for anyone viewing tonight's Design Review Committee meeting via ORCA Media, you can participate in tonight's discussion via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. To join the Zoom meeting with all of the video options available, please type this link into your web browser. And then alternatively, if you want, you can call in dialing this number, and when prompted, put in the meeting ID here below. And for either of these options, I'll get a notification that you want to get into tonight's meeting and let you in. If anyone is having problems accessing the meeting, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-vt.org. For those attending via Zoom, turning your video on is optional. For everyone attending, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand and wait until the chair calls on you. And please note that the Zoom chat function should only be used for troubleshooting or logistics questions. If you have a question or comment about an item on the agenda, please raise your hand, either physically or by using the raise hand button on your toolbar. And then again, wait until the chair has called you. And then when they do, please state your name for the record. And Brian, you don't have to do your name and address because you're one of the applicants. In the event the public is unable to access tonight's meeting, it will need to be continued to a time and place certain. I'll now hand the meeting back over to the chair.
At this point, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Hold on.
Whoop, I'm sorry.
So wait,
We
do you
have one more thing.
guys still have no audio? I'm just seeing the message from Brian. Was that from earlier when we were trying to set things up, Brian?
Yeah, that's correct. It's audio's fine now.
I just saw your text, so I just wanted your message. I want to make sure. Okay, fabulous. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. At this point, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda. This is Martha.
I'll second.
All in favor of the agenda, speak your names.
Martha.
Eric,
Rebecca.
Stephen
Liz.
and Liz. We can move forward to the first applicant, Carolyn Russell, for a new wall sign. Come up to the table.
Yep, come up here, and
Yes.
that little pack is a microphone. So don't touch it, but you can talk, and it should pick you up just fine without you having to do anything with it.
And describe your application. By the way, I will go ask questions and go through the criteria, but I will not vote since I have an interest in the building. So describe your sign.
Yeah, so One Day in July is a financial advisory firm. So we are proposing to put up a sign that will go between the Capitol Ground sign and the Woodbury Mountain Toy sign in that within that same sign band. So it's a flat wall sign that will be like a navy blue wood sign with a gold thin border and then a white wooden lettering on the sign. Yeah. That's the sign.
And it's a wooden sign
Yes.
or signboard?
Yeah, it's a wooden, it'll probably be a composite just so that it's a little bit lighter weight, so it doesn't take as much to hang on the building. But yeah, it'll just be a flat, the letters are gonna stick out about 1.5 inches, which is similar, a little less than the Woodbury Mountain Toys letters stick out. And I believe it'll be about 11 feet long. Should have printed that out. It's 11.
So they've got all the specifications.
That's what I figured. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
What are the letters made out of?
They're gonna be made out of that same wooden composite. Yep. And it'll be a like gloss painted background in a dark navy blue, like a very dark, so that it matches that green on the building. The letters will be white, like slightly off-white, so they're not blindingly.
So they don't slap us in the face?
Yes. Yeah,
I do have a suggestion.
Yeah.
If the background is gloss, it faces south.
oh, it's gonna be very
So it's gonna
shiny.
be very
Yeah.
reflective.
We might
You
go
may wanna
subtle.
think about a satin.
Yeah, we'll go satin. I'm fine with that. I think that's actually what the we're working with design design in South Burlington.
Yeah.
We've made this sign for multiple occasions.
Just mention to them that it faces due
Yeah,
south.
I will.
so
I'll make
that-
sure. I think we actually have used satin. We have a very similar sign hanging in Bridgems right now. So it says one day in July, and then below that it says investment advisors, which is what we do.
Chief, I was gonna suggest the same thing.
I'm sorry, Eric, can you repeat that?
I was gonna suggest semi-gloss or flat paint in the background.
We're getting, I know it doesn't have to do with the approval, but I'm going in person to see it just to make sure it's like the right navy blue, and I was gonna send you a sample of that. The CEO is also very particular about this color, so we want it to be good.
That's okay, just remember that sun shines directly on
Yeah, which is great for the space.
it. Yes.
But that is a good note. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions, objections?
No,
Suggestions?
I think it looks great. This is Liz. I like it. Nice sign. I like the gold band and the colors.
I'm good.
Okay, I can go through the criteria for signs in the design control district. The size, location, design, color, texture, lighting, and material of all exterior signs within the design review overlay district shall be compatible with the buildings and structures of the site and surrounding properties. Based on everybody's input, that's acceptable. Where appropriate, signing shall respect the original sign placement and sign bands on historic structures, acceptable. If a building has multiple tenants, there shall be consistency in placement and size among all signs, acceptable. It is recommended that sign placement be centered over building entries. This one with the other shared signs is acceptable. Sign installation shall minimize damage to character-defining materials on the building, acceptable. Sign design, color, and typography shall respect historic precedents where appropriate and shall be the appropriate scale for existing and new buildings, acceptable. All in favor of the application for this sign, speak your names.
Okay, this is Martha. I say yes.
Eric,
Rebecca, yes?
Liz, yes.
Eric, you need to unmute yourself.
Eric, yes.
Application is approved. With 4 votes.
The wrong thing.
Do you want to explain the next step?
So this is just a sign, so the permit should get out tomorrow or the next day. Do you want us to email you and have somebody pick it up, or do you want us to mail it to the Burlington office?
To the Burlington office? I can't just like pick it up from Montpelier, right?
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can just,
that's what I'm saying. We could just email you when it's ready and you can just come pick it up.
yeah, that'd be great. I'll be in town a bunch.
Perfect.
There's
So
one signature for you. You can come up here and just sign below my name.
and there'll be a card to put like in the window that sets up the 15-day period, so.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll
The
just email you and
is
you can
it
come pick it up.
15 days for the install?
Yeah, I mean, we don't we don't go around and be like, oh, you put it up a day early. It's, it's at your own risk. If for some reason somebody to appeal it and you already put it up,
Yeah. Oh, no,
Then
I
you
don't
take
think
it
we'll
down.
have it up before then. I think
Yeah.
more, it won't expire after.
no.
Okay.
Our permits are good for a minimum of 2 years.
Oh, awesome.
So you're fine.
Okay.
Construction might be done by then.
It's better than Burlington.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got it.
We can move forward to the next application for 89 Berry Street, Morningstar Properties for Free Ride Montpelier. Is someone here?
Yep.
Okay.
Brian, Brian, so if you could introduce yourself, give your full name and your association with the applicant.
Yes, my name is Brian Fitzgerald, and I am a volunteer for Free Ride Montpelier.
Awesome. They're just looking through the application materials again for a minute.
Sure.
Scroll so I can pull up the sign for our members who are on remotely. Just give me a minute. There we go. So, excuse me, I don't know how sensitive the mics are, so if you guys wanna chat about something that's not the agenda item, maybe step out there. Sorry.
Is he still on?
Yeah, he's there, nobody's asked him to do anything.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and describe your application for us and what your plans are to add the panel and then to move the existing sign.
Sure. Well, you have the application materials, and if I can refer you to the site plan, which is the first page of attachment 2. It shows the layout, the location of the new sign, location of the bike shop, and the existing sign, both where it's currently located and to where it will be located or relocated. Moving on to page 2 of the attachment, there are a couple of photographs that show the existing sign panel with a sign for Woodbelly Pizza, and also a mock-up of the sign we're proposing, which will fill the empty panel below the Woodbelly sign. And the sign will be, it's going to be a plywood panel with a PVC or other plastic material printed panel on both sides. The second part of the project is to relocate our existing sign, which is on the front of the building, and the bike shop is actually at the rear. So what we're proposing to do is to take down the sign shown on page 4 in figure 2 and move it around to the side of the building to better indicate where the shop entrance is, and you'll see the location of that on figure 3. I might also note that shown in figure 2, although this isn't part of the application, on figure 2 there's a smaller sign down on the lower right corner of the building. That sign is going to be removed. And unless there are questions, that's basically it.
What does that smaller sign say?
It just says free ride, and it free ride at the back of the building. It's to direct people around the back of the building.
Oh, okay.
Just says a curved arrow to
Okay,
show
I
you the door
couldn't
out
quite
back.
see it.
Because there's a leather shop at the front of the building and people see the free ride sign up there and they think that's the entrance and they wander in there, wonder where the bikes are.
And your relocation of the wall sign is just the same sign, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Quick question, are the signposts that the front sign is mounted on, is that pressure treated material?
It is.
Just as a matter of maintenance, I suggest coating the perimeter with a protective sealant of some kind to help preserve your new sign.
Okay, thank you. That's
When it's mounted, just as a preventative.
This is Eric. Have you thought about an arrow pointing to the back of the building?
we have. I think we're thinking that having the free ride sign on the side of the building, the existing sign moved to the side of the building will help draw people back there. That's our current plan and current hope.
I'm not for a proliferation of signs, but I think an arrow might be good, and a hanging sign over the entrance. I've dropped some bikes off there, and it is kind of hard to find.
Yeah, those are good suggestions, Eric. Thank you.
Just a hanging sign that just says free ride on it. It sticks out a little bit, so because otherwise, until you get actually down there, you can't see it.
Right.
But it's a store.
Yeah. This is Liz. I was also thinking about an arrow on that relocated or near the relocated sign pointing to the back of the building.
Well, that's certainly something we could add. Probably a wooden arrow, sort of attached to the bottom of the existing sign. Is that what you have in mind?
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah. Well, that's a great idea.
Okay, we can add that as an option to the application.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
I would include as an option define this size, a hanging sign over the where the shop actually is.
Steve, can I pick up?
Sure.
Steve, okay. So just a quick note, our sign regulations allow a ground sign or a projecting sign, one of those like hanging signs that sticks out, perpendicular to the building. I don't know as you can have both. So I'd need to look into that. What you could do if you don't have one already is do an open flag near your door. And that open flag can even it doesn't have to just say open, right? You could have a bicycle along with it to be your open flag. That, you can email me and I can give you the size limits. That doesn't need a permit. So because the open flag doesn't need a permit, it doesn't need to go to design review either, again, to come back. I don't know as we can do the option of the hanging sign. That's a whole nother, I'd have to reanalyze that.
That sounds like a great idea, Meredith.
We do have an open flag that's not shown. It hangs right off the corner. If you look at figure 3 of attachment on page 4, shows the location of the relocated sign. The flag sticks out right from that corner of the building.
Okay, so from the corner, I don't know if you can see my shared screen, right, so here?
Right there. it's right there, and it sticks out at an angle from that corner.
Okay. All right, it's just not in the picture, so
It's not-
that
yes.
probably works, that probably works almost as well as a arrow.
Yes. That's our hope.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, that it would be probably as good as an arrow.
I have a question. It looks like on the roadside sign that there used to be, or there are like really damaged lighting for your section, because there's one for Woodbury, but it looks like maybe there's really old lights that maybe don't function, or are they solar panels? I didn't know if.
Those are the two objects on the lowest cross piece are solar panels. Those will be relocated.
Okay.
So they're just using existing lighting for the sign, which are solar panel powered?
That's yes. The lighting is on Woodbelly sign. Our sign will not be lighted.
Will not be lit, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions, suggestions? Okay, I can go and read through the criteria for the change of signs, the new sign plus the relocation of the existing sign. And again, any flags or banners don't need a...
An open flag doesn't
Open
need,
flag.
don't
Open
breach
flag.
it out.
Nope. Okay, number one, the size, location, design, color, texture, lighting, and material of all exterior signs within the design review district shall be compatible with the buildings and structures of the site and surrounding properties. Acceptable. Where appropriate, signing shall respect the original sign placement and sign bans on historic structures. Acceptable. If a building has multiple tenants, there shall be consistency in placement and size among all signs. Acceptable. It is recommended that sign placement be centered over building entries. These locations are acceptable. Sign installation shall minimize damage to character-defining materials on the building. Acceptable. In masonry buildings, fasteners shall be in the mortar joints, but I don't see any masonry here. So I will say not applicable. Sign design, color, and typography shall respect historic precedents where appropriate and shall be the appropriate scale for existing and new buildings. Acceptable. Sign support structures shall be compatible with the building architecture and must not be overly complex or dominant in and of themselves. It's acceptable. It's also pre-existing. All in favor of the sign plans, speak your names.
This is Martha.
Liz,
I heard Eric.
Rebecca, yes.
Okay,
Liz?
Liz,
I'm assuming that was it.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it was. I think there's a little delay.
And we can get him to go ahead and
Yep.
review what needs to be done next.
So Brian, this is, there were no recommended changes or optional changes on the sheet. So I'm not gonna require you to sign off on it. We will email when the, permit is ready or we can mail it. Which would you rather?
You can just mail it to the shop address.
Perfect. Sounds good. We will try and get that in the mail in the next couple days.
Okay, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Have a great night.
thank you.
Luck with your bicycles.
Next on the agenda is an informal review of Montpelier Live Bridge Lighting Project Stage 2.
And I'm so sorry, Vivian, that we haven't been able to make the projector work. So if you share something, I think I can step away and people can,
Well, we can do it a
Share?
couple ways. I can turn my computer.
yeah, I mean, I've got Zoom up on here. So they, right, so,
So can you,
because if you have to share your screen or I have to share it, so that, I think if you share it, it might make more sense, but that way the committee members on remotely can see it too. There's no, there's no.
I mean, there's not too many of us.
Yeah, so if you don't, yeah, if you just share
Maybe you
your,
wanna hover on
no,
it.
if you share your screen on Zoom, it'll pop up on my screen. And these guys can see it here, that way the people behind you can see too. So let me just make sure, allow, hold on, let me just check my security features. Yep, you should be able to share your screen.
Still says it's disabled.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. All right. We're good?
So, you want to scoot in?
You want to come in here? I can go back. Just come on in, it's fine. So hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm Vivian Ladd-Tomasi, and I am the coordinator of Montpelier Alive's Bridge Illumination Project. Last time I was here, this was just a hope and a dream. But since I'm here tonight to kind of share what we've accomplished and what our next steps might be. So, as you know, Montpelier Alive raised the funds to successfully illuminate 7 bridges in downtown Montpelier in 2024. This image here is an image of the official lighting ceremony that happened last November. It was the lighting ceremony and lantern parade. We were incredibly heartened by the turnout. About 1,000 people came to celebrate the lighting of the bridges, and it was an incredibly joyful event. The bridges have been lit since then, every night from dusk to approximately 10 p.m. on the Winooski and until midnight on Langdon Street over the weekend. Montpelier Alive has been changing up the light colors and the effects to amplify events happening downtown. So the image you see here of the Main Street Bridge, this was sort of the multicolored presentation that we had in December to kind of celebrate the winter and the holidays. Main Street Bridge has actually turned out to be one of the most important illuminated bridges. Both Montpelier Alive and the city has heard countless testimonials from residents that these lights make them feel more safe in this part of town and communicate a warm welcome to visitors. The Taylor Street Bridge is one of my favorites. Due to the rolling nature of our grant funding, we were not able to install Taylor Street in 2024 with programmable colored lights. So instead, we decided to nod to its origins as a 1929 bridge and light it up with warm white lights, sort of reflecting a movie marquee. It has kind of an Art Deco feel. The design is meant to amplify the engineering of the bridge and celebrate the engineering of the bridge. However, at the end of this month, this is sort of next steps, we will be deinstalling, the New England Holiday Lighting Company will be deinstalling Taylor Street and reinstalling it with permanent programmable RGB lights. That's the same lighting system as we currently have installed on the Granite Street Bridge. So this will allow us, the design will be the same, but this will allow Montpelier Alive to change the colors and change the effects throughout the year. Similarly, Bailey Avenue, again, partly due to funding constraints, but also because we felt that this bridge as the gateway to Montpelier's historic district, we wanted to keep Bailey Avenue kind of nostalgic and a little old-fashioned. So in 2024, we simply wrapped the sort of gas lamps, they're really electric lights, but with wrapped evergreens with warm white lights up the light poles. And the effect was quite beautiful. Those lights have since been deinstalled, and again, at the end of April, we will be lighting those posts with programmable colored lights. So again, for the 4th, 3rd of July, for instance, this bridge will be lit up in red, white, and blue. Just another view of that kind of gateway to the historic district. And a beginning of the sort of the sense of the cityscape that these bridges are starting to create as we kind of move along the river. In addition to the Winooski bridges, we were also able to light 3 bridges on the North Branch. The Rialto Bridge has been installed with wash lights that are not really meant to illuminate the somewhat crumbling balustrade of this bridge, but rather to light the space beneath. And to call attention to the fact that Montpelier has rivers running through it. The effect of those, this was lit for St. Patrick's Day in green, but the effects of the light on the snow, the reflection of the bridge and the city and the water has been really, quite beautiful as a result. Langdon Street is probably the other most important illuminated bridge in town. Langdon Street, as you know, is very dark, but also very busy at night. At the heart of Montpelier's restaurant and bar scene, it is kind of the party bridge, and it welcomes everyone to enjoy Montpelier's nightlife and linger. And so one thing we've discovered with Langdon Street is that originally we lit this conservatively. We placed warm white lights going across the bridge in one direction, and programmable colored lights in the other direction, because we didn't want it to be too much. What we have discovered from all of the feedback we have received is that Montpelier is not afraid of color. So as we spruce up these lights for 2025, we're actually going to light that bridge with colored lights in both directions so that we can get more color effects, more intense color, but also have the option of making it warm white if we feel like there's times when we want something a little more subtle or tasteful to be happening there. And then finally, the School Street Bridge is a softer echo of its sister bridge downriver. Langdon and School Street were replaced at the same time after the flood of 1927 when they were both destroyed. So it currently is only lit in warm white lights, but will again receive some color at the end of this month so that it will have warm white lights in one direction and colored lights in the opposite direction. Again, we try to keep this one a little bit softer because it's in a more residential area, and it doesn't need to be quite as vivid as Langdon Street. So as I said when I first came here, the objectives behind this project have been numerous. First and foremost, we wanted to bring light and warmth to this dark winter nights. We hoped that the bridges would improve pedestrian safety. We really wanted to call attention to the relationship between Montpelier's built environment and the rivers, because as we know, our rivers are going to continue to enrich and challenge us for years ahead. And also to celebrate Montpelier's resilience in recovering from the 2023 flood. We also felt that as a city of bridges, we are a city of 23 vehicular, pedestrian, railroad, highway bridges, that these were kind of an underutilized resource or infrastructure resource. And so we felt that we could use the bridges to animate our evening streetscape and add an extra layer of kind of urban lighting to our city. And we don't feel like we've quite finished. So we have applied for additional funding to light 3 more bridges in 2025. And I wanted to just share that with you. Oh, it's just a little cityscape here. The pedestrian bridge just beyond Taylor Street, near the transit center, is one of the bridges we're considering lighting if we receive funding. There's currently lighting on the floor of this bridge, so if you walk across the bridge, your path is lit, but you can only see those lights at the entrance or the exit, or if you're actually on the bridge. If you're standing back from this bridge at any distance, it looks completely dark. And so what we would like to do is to highlight the decorative pattern of trusses on the side of this bridge by, again, installing wash lighting that will shine down over the sides of the bridge. It will light up the bridge for pedestrians and bikers. It will light up the river, and in fact, it'll illuminate the whole area. And in particular, the transit center side of the bike path, there's virtually no lights on the bike path on that side. So having additional lighting here will help to make this a much safer path for commuters, for students, for full 6 months out of the year when it's dark here from 4:30 on, or whatever. There is a set of lights currently installed on the upper spandrel on the downriver side of this bridge. This was installed by the Public Arts Commission several years ago. And so we're working with them to talk about whether we want to keep this or not keep this. If we do get the funding and have an opportunity to light this bridge, those lights are currently not working. Our highest priority in this next stage is actually the pedestrian bridge just behind Shaw's that spans the North Branch. As you all probably know, this is an area that's very dark at night and has been problematic in terms of loitering. As the gateway to the Sinawibui path, we'd like to transform it into a kind of a landmark. What we'd like to do is install poles along the sides of this bridge. And I have a couple of schematics. These are not drawn to scale, but to place poles on either side of the bridge and then create a system of cabling across the top that will support a light system so that this bridge will become a kind of a tunnel of light. It will have this sort of canopy of light. The experience will be very immersive for people crossing over this bridge in the evenings because they'll literally enter into this light installation. And the New England Holiday Lighting Company has done something similar in another location, and so I just bring this just to kind of give you a sense of what it might look like. Once again, lighting this bridge will not only enhance the safety of pedestrians and bikers, but it will light up this whole area and create this kind of dynamic light installation in the center of town. And then last but not least, the little Spring Street Bridge is kind of, I almost think of them as like parentheses, like Bailey Avenue is the parentheses on Granite Street, or those are the parentheses on the Winooski, and Spring Street and the pedestrian bridge behind Shaw's would be kind of the same on the North Branch. They're the bridges that are located within the historic district. We'd like to add some lighting to this bridge. This bridge currently has no lighting. And it would be subtler and softer than Main Street, but it would be the same kind of idea. We would use wash lights to light up all those little verticals underneath the handrail. And to create like a beautiful wash of light to highlight the arc of the bridge, to highlight the water beneath, and to create a kind of safer passage for pedestrians in this area. So I just kind of wanted to bring this to you because we just want to be as transparent as we can be with everybody in the city. Installing these new lighting systems will involve making some holes in the bridges so that we can actually attach things securely and safely, and we're in conversation with DPW about that, and they're comfortable with the designs that we've put forth. But I would be happy to answer any questions or take any comments or respond to any concerns.
Has anybody had any problems with too much light at night? And one of my concerns when we first talked about this so long ago was light specifically in areas where there are residential folks, and whether or not it was going to be disturbing to them. Has that come up at all?
In the initial stages of the project, we heard about that and we listened, and that's one of the reasons why we turned the lights off. at 10 o'clock. There's no reason to have the bridges lit when there aren't people downtown, like actively enjoying downtown. So we try to be quite sensitive to that. And we actually haven't heard, I mean, I think we've received one complaint. The vast majority of responses have been grateful and appreciative and kind of gleeful in a funny way. A lot of the folks around Langdon Street love having the view of the bridges out their window. I mean, they feel like it's kind of a very lucky thing.
Even from those apartments?
Yes, from those apartments, to have
was my
this kind of beautiful, sparkling thing to look at as they look out the window. So we've received virtually no negative responses, which is kind of surprised even us, actually. The other concern was, of course, electrical usage and whether this was wasteful. And, I think we were able to allay most people's concerns. The bridges are wired into the city electrical grid, which, as you all know, is sort of 80% offset. The lights are only on for a few hours every night and diminishing as the days get longer. We light the bridges later, so that by the summertime, they'll only be lit an hour or two at night. And most people are just really, really appreciative to have additional light. I think having too much light is less of a problem in the city than having too little. Pedestrians often do not feel quite safe because our streets are quite dark.
I've heard only positive things also.
I'm glad
I was
to hear that.
concerned about those people, especially going off into Spring Street now, and then there's Langdon Street, and then
Right.
our apartments near School Street.
Right, right.
The Spring Street lighting is downwashed.
It's
right?
downwashed, right, so.
There's very little exposure from up above.
Exactly.
I'm assuming most of the lighting is either LED or high efficiency.
Yes, absolutely.
Which uses pittance.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is Eric. I have a question about the bridge down by Shaw's. I would suggest not having too much light in that, so you also, by coming out into the less lit bike path, if there's too much light, that becomes a black hole that you're entering into on the outside when you come out of it. So if there's too much light, people's eyes are just going to be adjusted and they're not going to be able to see what they're going.
When you leave the light, it's so dark all of a sudden that there might be problems.
When you leave.
It's not that bright that
Right.
it messes up their night vision when they leave.
Right.
Is that what you mean, Eric?
Yes.
Messing with night vision? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard of that, but I will definitely take that into account. And I think the idea is to provide consistent sources of light as you're moving along the bike path in the historic district of Montpelier. Right now, it's very, very dark between Bailey and Taylor. Because the railroad bridge isn't lit, that pedestrian bridge isn't lit. So I actually think it's going to help visibility for anybody using that space.
I just worry about the change, as Meredith said. You come out of a brightly lit bridge and you're looking into a dimmer lit space, your vision is not going to be very good.
All right, I will definitely raise that with the lighting company.
They could, they could also add some solar-powered pathway lighting once you leave the bridge. If you go into a section of the path that's particularly dark, that there's no ambient lighting either from street lights or adjacent buildings.
There is currently some lighting on the Transit Street side, and of course, Taylor Street will provide a certain amount of light. So I actually think that lighting the pedestrian bridge will just create a consistent amount of light on that side of the bridge. On the opposite side of the bridge, there is bike path lighting between that particular bridge and the East Rise Credit Union to Bailey Avenue. It's not, so I don't think you're gonna hit a spot that's like suddenly dark, because there is existing lighting along the bike path. It just surprisingly, there's not much between Taylor and that pedestrian bridge. I think there's one at the end. One at the end and one at the beginning, and that's it.
Steve?
Yeah, I've noticed that the School Street Bridge is not going off at night.
The School Street Bridge does not go off at night because it is connected to the lamp post. And we can't put a timer. So two of the bridges, Rialto and School Street, we currently can't operate on a timer because the street lights have photocells. So they respond to, when it gets dark, the street lights go on. And so that's when the bridge goes on. And when it gets light, the bridge goes off. I am going to look into some kind of a situation, because the problem is with the electricity turning off entirely, a timer won't hold. From what I understand is it's not currently possible, because there's no power going to the bridge.
Where's the photocell on the streetlight?
I don't know, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Because they could wire
it
it
ahead of the.
before the photocell so that it would be operate independently.
But that is something absolutely that we need to look into, because I would like that bridge on a timer. So I will research that to make sure that that can happen, because there's no reason for it to be on all night.
Yep.
And the other point I continually make with Montpelier Live and Vivian's admirable project is that we need to balance it with our desire to attract people downtown, is that there's no place for them to use the restroom. And we're spending so much money on lighting and no money on accessible public restrooms. Shaw's is permanently closed as a restroom, and it's a real issue. Sorry to remind you of that.
With everything being lit up, there's fewer places to.
That's right, to dispute pee on a tree, right. You're ruining all our best.
From the sublime to the. Oh, boy, okay.
Back on topic. I've heard only positive things, so I would
The lighting
encourage
has
you.
been great.
Oh,
And
thank
the
you.
response that we hear is that it's been very positive.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. I guess the last thing I wanted to let you all know was that Montpelier Live and the city have agreed that for the next 5 years, Montpelier Live will oversee the maintenance and care of the bridges, of the lit bridges, and they will continue to pay the electric bill, so it's not coming out of city funds at all. At the end of that time, we're gonna meet and talk about the future of the bridges together.
Nice to know that it will be maintained.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now you gotta humorous angle to it.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the meeting minutes from March the 3rd?
Yes, and I'll make a motion to accept them the way they're written.
Do I?
I wasn't here, so I'm gonna pass.
Okay. I'll second it. All in favor of the minutes from March the 3rd, speak your names.
Martha?
Liz,
And Steve?
Eric, you were muted, yes, on the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I read lips, you said
Okay,
yes.
yes.
He didn't, there's a delay, I think with our different wiring, there's a delay. So actually, I think we have to hear you, Eric. So can you try again and leave it unmuted for a little bit before you talk?
Yes.
Good.
Awesome, thank you.
Does anyone have any other business? Or do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second, Rebecca?
All in favor of adjournment, speak your names.
Martha?
Rebecca?
Steve?
Eric?
Liz,
So what area?
Hold on. All we need, we had 4, that's
Yep,
enough, we don't have to
okay.
hear Eric.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody, and I will.